Red alert in Chicago. What just went down with the Bears is straight up unacceptable. A brutal hit exposed the team's worst side, and what's at stake isn't just pride. It's the franchise's future. Who's to blame? Is this disaster on the field the end for our rookie star? Stay tuned, because this news is about to break the internet. But that's not all. What's the deal with our explosive young receiver? How is it possible that a game-changing talent is still riding the bench while the team falls apart? If we don't take action now, another team might snatch this diamond in the rough. Are we going to let that happen again? What's coming could be the key to saving this offense. And to wrap it up, the favorites for head coach have leaked. The names on the table could change our history for the better, or sink us once and for all. Is this the decision that finally fixes everything, or the mistake that'll cost us years of suffering? Hit subscribe now because you need to know this. The Bears can't fail again. This is urgent. Yo, Bears Nation, we need to talk. Because what just went down in Santa Clara is something we can't sweep under the rug. Let me keep it 100 with you all. This team is still in the dumps, even with Matt Eberflus out of the picture. You telling me the coach was our only problem? That without him we'd suddenly run the league? Let me tell you something. That 38-13 beatdown against a banged-up Niners squad was a wake-up call. Loud and clear. Let's get down to brass tacks because numbers don't lie, folks. Check this out. 4 total yards in the first half. 4. That's not an offense, that's an embarrassment. Caleb Williams, our shiny new rookie, went 18 of 24 for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. Sounds decent, right? Well, nope, because he also got sacked 7 times, losing 46 yards in the process. What's the deal with that offensive line? I'm asking you, how can a young quarterback develop if he can't even stay on his feet? And that's not even the half of it. The ground game straight up vanished. DeAndre Swift and Caleb Williams combined for just 68 total yards. Folks, this is the NFL, not some preseason game from 3 months ago. How do they expect to win games like this? I'm telling you, even the best quarterback on planet Earth fails if the team doesn't give them the tools to succeed. Is this what we want to hand over to Caleb Williams? But hold up, I'm not done yet, because the defense didn't get off the hook either. Brock Purdy, yes, Brock Purdy, torched us for 325 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. George Kittle, people, embarrassed us with 151 yards on just 6 catches. Where was the secondary? Where was the pass rush? I'm asking you, is anyone paying attention to that defensive unit? Or have they thrown in the towel too? Now, some might say, hey, they fired Eberflus. We gotta be patient. And sure, I get that a leadership change doesn't fix everything overnight. But folks, what we saw yesterday isn't a team in transition. It's a team with no direction, no fire, no heart. Where's the pride? Where's the winning mindset? Or does this uniform not carry the same weight anymore? Listen up. I don't want to be all doom and gloom. Caleb Williams still has the talent to change this franchise's future. But here's the challenge. Are we going to keep throwing him to the wolves in a system that doesn't work? Behind an O-line that can't protect him? With a coaching staff that might not even know how to maximize his potential? The schedule isn't getting any easier. With our final stretch against the NFC North, this team needs to show something, anything, in these last games. Are they going to step up or keep backing down? I'm telling you, this finish is more important than it looks. It's not just about wins and losses. It's about finding the lost identity of the Chicago Bears. The question is, do they still have it, or is it gone for good? And here's my challenge to you, the loyal Bears faithful. What would you do with this team? What changes are absolutely necessary right now? Now somebody needs to explain to me why Tyler Scott, our young receiver with flashes of brilliance, keeps warming the bench instead of seeing the field. I'm going to lay it out straight. This kid needs more playing time, and it needs to happen now. If not during this lost season, then when? Are we going to wait until another team scoops him up and turns him into a star? Because real talk, we've seen that movie before. Let me ask you something. Isn't this the perfect time to give Scott a real shot in the offense? Sure, DJ Moore and Keenan Allen have been holding down the receiving core, but they've both been banged up lately. And now that we're out of the playoff hunt, there's zero excuse for keeping Scott on ice. This is prime time to experiment, to figure out what we've got in this kid before it's too late. Look, I'm not saying Tyler Scott is some magic fix for all our problems, but we can't sleep on his potential either. We picked him in the 4th round of the 2023 draft because the scouts saw something special. blazing speed, crisp route running, and reliable hands. During his rookie year, we saw the flashes, right? The kid was targeted on several deep balls late in 2023, and even though the numbers weren't eye-popping, he showed he could be a deep threat. So why has he disappeared this season? This is where I'm calling out the new coach, Thomas Brown, directly. Coach, what are you waiting for to give this kid a role in the offense? Look at the numbers. 3 or fewer snaps in 7 out of 13 games so far. That's ridiculous. If we've got a receiver who can stretch the field with his speed, why aren't we using him? Caleb Williams could use a reliable target on those 40-plus yard bombs. Real talk. The kid needs someone to help him unleash that generational arm we all know he's got. And Scott could be the perfect piece for that. Now, let's talk about what this kid could mean long-term. We all know Keenan Allen's in the last year of his deal, and his days in Chicago might be numbered. How are we going to handle that potential WR3 vacancy? Are we going to blow a ton of cash in free agency or waste another high draft pick when we've already got Scott chomping at the bit? I'm telling you, giving him more snaps in these last games isn't just fair to him. It also gives the front office a clearer picture of what we've got on our roster before making off-season moves. Plus, I want to highlight something important. Scott could help Caleb Williams develop that crucial chemistry with a deep threat. So far, the rookie hasn't had much success completing passes over 40 yards. Why? Maybe because of lack of real game reps. Tyler Scott, with his speed and natural talent, could be the perfect antidote for that. If we can get Williams comfortable bombing it deep to this kid, we might be planting the seeds for a lethal connection down the road. But here's the million-dollar question. Why the heck has he been practically invisible all year? I'm asking you, does anyone know what's going on at Halas Hall? Is it because the previous coaching staff just didn't know how to use him? Or is there something they're not telling us? If we're talking about shaking up this offense and seeing what talent we really have on the roster, Tyler Scott should be at the top of that list. And one more thing before I forget. The upcoming games, especially now that we've got nothing to lose, are the perfect time to tweak this offense. DJ Moore and Keenan Allen are banged up. DeAndre Swift and Rashawn Johnson aren't 100% in the run game either. So why not try something new? Give Tyler Scott some snaps from the slot. Use him on deep routes. Put him in situations where he can make the defense run and open up space for Caleb Williams to throw with ease. This kid can offer way more than just filler for the last few weeks of this forgettable season. I know many of you, the die-hard Bears fans, are probably wondering the same thing. Why haven't we seen Scott on the field the way he deserves? And here's my challenge to you. Speak up. Let them know in Chicago that we want to see this guy before 2024 is over. So I'll leave you with this question, friends. Do you think Tyler Scott deserves more playing time in these final games? Or do you think it's too late to salvage this season with new faces? All right, folks, buckle up, because the drama of our hunt for a new head coach for 2025 is heating up. Now, you know we're in this position again. Yeah, scrapping to find the leader who can finally give our team an identity. And the big names are starting to buzz. Yes, I'm talking about Mike Vrabel and the one and only Bill Belichick. First things first, Mike Vrabel. This guy's got the whole package. Does anyone doubt he's a born leader of men? I'm telling you this. During his time as head coach of the Tennessee Titans, he not only took the team to the postseason, but he brought back a level of competitiveness we hadn't seen since the Steve McNair days. And now, he's up for grabs. Word on the street is Vrabel's hanging around as a consultant with the Cleveland Browns, but he's clearly itching to get back in the game as a head coach. Now, what makes Mike Vrabel the perfect candidate for the Bears? Easy. This guy not only gets the old-school football mentality, but he also knows how to adapt. We saw him build a fierce offense based on the ground game with Derrick Henry, but also restructure a defense that played with grit. Isn't that exactly what we need in Chicago? Because I'm asking you, aren't you sick and tired of all our young talent being wasted season after season under mediocre coaches? I think this guy can change that. Plus, having a leader of men who's got the locker rooms back could be just what Caleb Williams needs to become the superstar we know he can be. But wait, because here comes the juicy part. Bill Belichick's name. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the GOAT of NFL coaches is looking for a comeback, but not necessarily at the level we all expected. Word was he might be an option for teams like us, the Bears. but now it looks like the North Carolina Tar Heels are making a strong push to bring him to college ball. What do you make of that? I'll tell you this. Let's respect Belichick's legacy because his resume speaks for itself. But would it be the best move for a team like the Bears? Look, I get it. Hiring someone like Belichick is like buying a used Ferrari. It's still a Ferrari, but you wonder how much more it can give before something seriously breaks down. The man's pushing 72, folks, and while his hunger to break the all-time wins record is obvious, I'm asking you, do we want to be the team that offers him that stage instead of building a solid foundation for the future? I respect who he is and what he represents, but the reality is that it might be more of a brand move than a real long-term solution. Meanwhile, let me circle back to Vrabel, because to me, he makes a lot of sense as a candidate. He's also someone who, according to reports, will only go to teams with established GMs, and that's where the Bears could make a difference. Ryan Poles is in his second year as GM, and although he's made mistakes and questionable decisions, he still has a chance to redeem himself if he picks the right coach. And what better than a guy with experience who knows how to motivate and build around his players? The relationship between the GM and coach is everything. If the Bears and Poles can convince Vrabel, we could be talking about the cornerstone that finally pulls Chicago out of the swamp it's been stuck in for nearly a decade. On the other hand, the Belichick situation gives me the vibe that it'd be more of a media move than a practical one. Sure, having him at Soldier Field would be a massive splash, but think about the cost. His scheme is rigid, his time to develop long-term is limited, and frankly, the Bears franchise needs something fresher. It's time we think about genuine change, a cultural reset that someone like Vrabel could bring. Or am I off base here, guys? Because I'm asking you, if we really want to break this losing streak, what makes more sense? A veteran coach in the twilight of his career, or one who's still hungry to build something special? I think Mike Vrabel fits the Bears' current needs, from his focus on discipline to his dynamic tactical knowledge. Now I want to hear from you. If you could choose, who do you want as head coach of the Chicago Bears in 2025? Vrabel, Belichick, or someone else? Listen up, Bear Nation. Here's a question for all of you. What would you do with this team to give it the turnaround we so desperately need? What changes are top priority to make us competitive again? Hit me up in the comments. And speaking of the future, what's your take on Tyler Scott? Does he deserve more playing time in these last games, or do you think it's too late to experiment? Drop your opinion because you fans are the best analysts out there. Lastly, let's tackle a key question for 2025. Who do you want to see as the next head coach of the Chicago Bears? Belichick, Vrabel, or do you prefer a totally different name? Here's your chance to get this debate going among the Bear family. If you're digging this kind of content and being part of these deep dives into our team, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Here we don't just talk about the Bears. We're building a community, a Bear family where every voice counts. So hit that subscribe button right now. Share your thoughts in the comments, and above all, join us on this journey full of passion and hope for our Bears. Thanks for being here, and we'll catch you in the next video, Bear Nation.